We're going to look at the gameplay camera system that came with 5.5 and how to set it up for 3 different modes. We've got our third person mode, our first person mode, and our top down mode. Super easy to follow. We're going to include setting up this occlusion mask that when you dip behind something, you can see behind it. So I'm just inside the sound effects free project that I'm giving away so that you can have that. And I've just created a new folder called new camera system. I'm going to right click, type in camera, and get this camera asset, and get blueprint camera director, test cam. This is going to open up this rig, and we're going to call the first one first person. First person, we want to get a boom arm, and we're going to put in 30 and 40. Well, actually, we need a sequence from here. So from root node, type in sequence, connect children to self. And then from children, we want to get a field of view, just like that, and leave that at 90. And that's our first person setup. Then we're going to go to add. I'm going to type in third person. We're going to get another sequence and another boom arm, like that. From boom offset, we're just going to drag out and promote this to a camera rig. Now, the documentation says that from input slot, you should make an input axis. So, input axis binding 2D. I don't think this is necessary, but I'll show you why. So, the documentation says to add the IA look and to set up a -80 and 10 and clamp the min and max, and then this inverts your axes if you want up to be down and down to be up, etc. From child 1, we're going to get field of view. I'm going to leave that alone. From child 2, we're going to get dampen position, and from child 3, we're going to get occlusion material. We don't have an occlusion material yet, so let's quickly set one up. So we're going to come back to our new camera system, right click, material, occlusion. Now, I don't do much with materials, but we're going to give this one a go. So from base color, we're going to get a param, and we're going to make it a vector param. Yep. And we're just going to call that color, and put this up to 1, put A up to 1, click OK. And then from opacity, so it's not saying opacity because we need to change this blend mode to translucent. And from opacity, we need to type in another param. This time it will be a scalar param. This will be the opacity. And we can just make this 0.2. So if we go back to test cam, that wasn't so bad. If we go back to test cam, we can drop this material down to occlusion, like so. And what this will do is when we pass behind something, it will make it transparent or translucent for us. And then the final one is we're going to add a top down cam as well. Again, sequence. We're going to get a boom arm. And we're going to make this -1000. We're just going to nip back to the third person one for a second. And the boom arm there, we're going to make -550 on the Z. So let's go back to top down. We're going to get a field of view. And leave that at 90. We're going to get dampen position. We're going to set forward dampening factor to 5. And then we're going to get occlusion material again. And set that to M occlusion, like so. And the reason this keeps coming up here is we don't have a director, so we need to set up a director. So I'm going to click add. We're going to add this to our camera system, open it like that, and that will all now compile. Just leave this here for a second. I'm going to come back to it in a minute. Now we're going to go back to rigs and to transitions at the top. We're going to get exit transition, and we're going to get smooth blend. We're just going to copy those, paste them here, paste them here into all of them. Blueprints, sandbox character, and we're going to go to the event graph, and we're going to add some keyboard events. I'm going to add 1, 2, and 3. So right click, type in 1, select 1, duplicate this, go to details, change this to 2, duplicate it again, go to details, change it to 3. We're going to need 3 variables: the camera rig, which will be an integer, and we're going to need the arm length, which will be a float, and then we're going to need the increments, which will also be a float. Arm length needs a default value of -500, so, and increments needs an increment value of 25, like so. Get camera rig, and we'll set it on each of these, like that. And we'll just change the second one to be 1 and the third one to be 2. We also need a mouse scroll up and a mouse scroll down event. These are already in here underneath the swap camera styles, which we need to disconnect. So we don't want to use these default ones just yet. We're just going to set up our own so you can see how they work. Then we're going to get arm length and increments. I'm going to add those together here. We're going to clamp float, and the minimum is going to be -1000. And we're going to set the arm length. We're going to get the gameplay camera, and we're going to get initial variable table. We're going to set camera rig parameters because we're only going to use the third person one. So we need to set test cam and our third person camera. Put that into there. Put that to there. So put pressed into the set arm length. And then we're going to take these nodes, the arm length, the increments, the plus, the clamp, and the set, and we're going to copy them and paste them. And then instead of the plus, we're just going to do a minus, like that. And then we're going to shove that also into set camera rig parameters. This boom offset is the parameter from our third person here that we made into a parameter. So we're going to right click that and split. And then we're going to put arm length into boom offset X. Like so. And then finally, we're going to look at this director. We're going to right click, go to find evaluation context owner, drop it down to sandbox, and get our sandbox character. We get the cam rig that we set up, and we'll switch on int, and we'll add 3 integers like so. And then we'll right click and we'll do activate camera rig, duplicate that twice, and the first one is our first person camera, the second one is our third person camera, and the third one is our top down camera. And then we are going to, from the find evaluate context owner, we're going to get controller like so, and we are going to set control roll rotation, plug, connect those two together, right click new rotation and split. Then on the Y pitch, we're going to do -50, like so. In our sandbox character, we're going to select gameplay, camera, and drop this down to our test cam, just here. And then here we are at our top-down camera, and then we can swap some cameras. So this is the first-person camera, and we can see that there's a little problem here, because I'm looking backwards and, well, I'm looking forwards and running backwards. The fix that I've got for this, and it might not be the best, is we're going to create a custom event here, name it strafe, and connect it just here. And then inside the camera, we're just going to call that strafe event. So that'll mean that every time we go into first person camera mode, the money will go into strafe. So wherever we're looking, they will turn. So now if I'm running backwards, I've got my camera, they'll strafe backwards. Okay, just like that. So if we go into third person camera, I can't get past this left hand side and this right hand side. So I'm locked at a 90-degree angle just here. And running is awkward. I'm pressing W now and going forward for that, but right. Pressing backwards, but it's doing something else. So it's a bit awkward. Don't like that. So if we disconnect this, try again, go into the third person mode, I can rotate all the way around, no matter where I am. W will always be forward, left will always be left, back will always be back. That is how to set up your different gameplay cameras. Now there is already a gameplay camera set up on the gas sample that we can check out. That's got all these set up, and it's got all these prefabs set up as well. So you want to have a play with that. The only thing I would say is some of the logic is a bit weird. So for instance, this attached to player pawn, you would expect it to be a place that you can attach, but actually this is a boolean, and I don't know why, and I can't add anything to it to be able to make it better. So I can't attach things using this at runtime, which is not great. This is the documentation for it, including a quick start guide on how to set it up, which is this link. But instead of doing it on the third person character, we've done it on the gameplay animation sample project as a separate thing. So enjoy, have fun.